talking stick is a tool used in many Native American traditions when a council has been called. It allows each person to present their sacred point of view. Whoever holds the stick has the floor. Our talking stick is anchored by bear. See? Bear medicine is very strong. In it lies the power of introspection. Bear looks for honey, the sweetness of truth. So we turn now to our favorite memories of Shonda, for through our memories, our love for her will continue to live in our hearts and minds. And so this is a time for whoever would like to share any words about Shonda or any words for the family. We will pass the stick to you, and you can speak.
I met Shonda through my dear friend Eric, and I remember when I first met her, what struck me is she was so graceful and polite, and I guess I'm the opposite of that. So I just wanted to say she was a beautiful girl, and I'll miss her.
I didn't know her as long as her family or her best friend Jeremy here, but she was the most incredible person that I had ever met. She didn't let anything keep her down. She was always the eternal optimist. No matter what was going on, she was already ready to have fun. She just wanted to have fun. Let's go do something fun. I'm gonna miss that optimism.
And give the stick a little shake.
I've known Shonda for almost over 20 years, and I still remember the very first day that I met her. We both worked at a restaurant called Perkins. She's grown up calling herself the hostess with the mostest. She was the most beautiful person I have ever met. We have been with each other through so many good times, bad times, times of need. It's hard for me to think that she's gone. I just know I love her. And I will always keep her and in place in my heart.
I only met Shonda once at the pool in our neighborhood where her parents and I live. And they've been my family and my lifeline and my mentors. And it's no surprise that they raised such a beautiful daughter who is so respectful and intelligent. And the time I met her at the pool, I said, Shonda, do you know that your parents are two of my very favorite people? And she said, they are of mine as well. And it just touched my heart. Just beautiful.
Most of you did not have the privilege and the pleasure of knowing Shonda when she was little. So I will share some of that, which you might not know, but maybe you can know her better through knowing how she was as a child. A dear friend of ours was trying to adopt a child, but was unable to at the time because of her career. And she referred that opportunity to us. And so we went and set up the arrangement to adopt this infant who was just going to be born. And so when the child was born, it was in Dallas, Texas, and we flew down there with another person because we're not allowed to see the mother or see the child ahead of time. So we had to have another person with us who was a dear friend of ours, John, who's a dentist, and he became the godfather of Shanja. So he went to the hospital, signed all the papers, picked up the child, and brought her to the airport. She probably didn't know what hit her when we got her. We wouldn't let go of her. We hugged her and kissed her and rocked her and did all sorts of things. Oh, what the heck's going on here? Anyway, we brought her back home to our mountain home. It was an alpine design in the woods. And she was 3 days old when that happened. And we thought this was a very special place, being nature all around us, and we were on a hillside 7,600 feet high, so we could see the snow caps most of the time, but except in midsummer. And we had lots of animals, deers, rabbits, raccoons, all sorts of things, and birds. One time we had a little playpen out on the porch, and in the evening we heard noises, so we all walked to the window, and here were some raccoons. They stood up to peek inside to see what's going on inside the house. It was that sort of atmosphere. We also had lots of birds, and when her mother was there one time, her mother taught a little mountain chickadee to eat out of her hand. And so that's the type of birds we had, and that bird was so caring and trained that in the wintertime, when I was shoveling snow, I had to wear a great big hat because snow would fall off the trees on me. And that little bird would come down and land on my hat. So I had to dust it off, get a little seed out, put it up there, and he'd come and land on my broom, take a little seed and fly off. So it was a very friendly atmosphere up there. She was very energetic. I noticed that very early in her childhood. She didn't walk, she ran. If I say, you want me to read your book? She'd run to the bedroom, get the book, and go back and sit on the cot. I mean, she ran everywhere. If she was going to do something, she didn't do it halfway. She went full force, whatever she did. And we used to, some of this is probably familiar to you, but it was fine to me. We used to play horsey. I would sit on the couch and stick my leg out, and she would straddle the leg, and then I would hold her hands, and I would go up and down, and I'd try to be the buck and bronco, try to throw her off of there, but she'd kick on my hand. She looked like she'd ride that leg as far as it went. So she was great about that. And then as she got a little bigger, I couldn't lift her, so I'd kneel down on my floor by the couch, and she would climb up the couch and climb on me like she's mounting a horse, Then I would go around the house as a horse with her on the back. She later became to love horses, and she took some lessons right here in Tucson in some of your things on North Oracle and other places, how to ride a horse. So she loved horses. She was very adventuresome. She was ready to go out and explore and go any place and do anything. And we did camping an awful lot. In fact, we ended up getting a small trailer just for the three of us. We called it the tiny house. And so we'd go all over Colorado in the mountains and streams and reservoirs, and she loved it. She was alive when she was doing that. And one of the places we went was Grand Mesa. And Mesa is higher than the local ground. There was, Grand Mesa probably was, I don't know, maybe 8,000 feet high. And we went camping up there in our little thing. And they have a walk that is spectacular. You have to climb up a little bit, but then you're on like a camelback. It's perched way up, and it's just like this, a very narrow thing. Only it's not even as wide as this room, and in some places it's just room enough to walk singular, one behind each other, and don't step off to right or left. Well, she wasn't content to just be held. She wanted to see where we're going. So I put a little backpack on back, and she would have her feet in that, and then she'd have her arms around my neck, and she'd be hanging on and looking here, and looking here, where we going, you know. And finally, that wasn't enough. She wanted to see more. So she said, I want to be on your arm. I want to be up higher, Daddy. So when we got to stop, I picked her up, and I got her up on my shoulder, sort of, her legs hung down here, you know, and then she put her hands around my forehead, you know. She wanted to see what was out there and where we were going. And we went through some places that were as wide as this. That was how wide it was, you know. I carefully walked through it. But you could see for miles because we were up higher than all those surrounding things. And, oh, Daddy, and I looked down, and there were some animals, and I don't know whether they were coyotes or whether they were wolves, but you could see them way in the distance, way down below there. So she could see. And when I think of that adventuresome and her attitude, it reminds me of what we've seen in the movie, The Titanic, where that young couple is out on the bow of the ship looking out, you know, what's ahead, where are we going, sort of thing. She was that type, and I loved that about her. She was very fun-loving. She loved to have fun. As a child, about 4 years old, we learned to play hide and seek. And so we'd take turns. She couldn't count much, and she would pretend that she could, but she really couldn't. So I didn't get much time to go hide. But anyways, she would hide. And this one time, I'll never forget. I went out in the other room, and I counted to 20 or whatever. And I came in looking for her, and she wasn't anywhere, and I knew where she was. She was in the bedroom. So I came into the bedroom looking for her, and she's in this very center of this bed, her bed. She's sitting cross-legged, like this. I can't see you, you can't see me. So I said, I wonder where she is. Let's see, is she under the bed? Is she in the closet? Is she behind this? I looked all over that room, and I couldn't find her, and I'm gonna have to get her, I couldn't find her. And then she took her hands off, she said, boo! And so, she loved that. Then she was also very caring. We had a poodle that she just loved and played with and cared for. And come one summer, our local Evergreen city nearby was having a contest for a dress-up for animals. So between Mom and Shonda, they dressed her up in this dress around the waist of the dog and something around its head. So here's this little French poodle looking like a little big girl on her 4 legs walking around. And she put her in a contest. I think she got recognition. I don't think she won the big one, but she got recognition for that. She just loved animals. And she loved animals so much, she said, I'm going to be a veterinarian so I can care for animals. She was determined to do something for them. She loved music, and music was a big part of her life. She belonged, in Evergreen, there was a local professional who wanted to help the children, the teenagers. So she formed a choral group, and they would sing as a group, and they practiced, and they presented certain places. So Shonda was in that, and she loved singing, and she was part of that group, and we loved going to see her and watch her, so she really liked that. She also loved the piano. She was early before she'd do much, she'd twinkle with that. But she got so she could listen. She was bright. She would listen to a song, and then she would find the keys, and she'd end up playing that song. And then later on, she did it more often. I mean, she would hear something on the radio, or she'd have a record. She would copy that, and so she learned to play by ear. And the interesting thing is, my grandfather learned the same thing, to learn by ear. And he used to play at recitals. They used to have dance recitals. I know this is too old for you folks to remember, but they used to have dance recitals. And he'd play everything by ear, and he knew 200 songs by ear. And they'd say, what's your next dance? And he'd be like, no, that's sort of like her. She loved playing the piano. She was also very smart. She completed her 4 years of high school in only 3 years, and then was out in the world. When she graduated, we went to her graduation, she got a special award for being the most math wizard in the whole class. She was smart. she loved to travel and explore new areas. And we've taken her to Mexico a number of times. And one of her girlfriends came by and visited us, and we went deeper into Mexico. But Donna's mother said that's not enough. So her mother, Ada, took us to Hawaii 3 different times so that Shonda could enjoy their shows, their land, the culture there, and all that. And to top it off, her mother took us to America Samoa, of all places. Very quaint, very personal, and we loved that visit too. So she's had some broadening experiences. Well, as you know, she had a son, Dylan Matthew, and she thought that was God incarnate. She just believed he was the most wonderful person, and she loved him so much. And he was Dylan was the love of her life. She loved him more than anything else. And what she did was, as a mother, she shared the rich experiences she had with Dylan, so that he would tinkle with the piano. He would do the things she did. For instance, he has a little bird. We gave him a bird feeder. He has outside of his bedroom window, and so he has birds come right there to the window. He's got the one-way, two-way mirror. They can't see us, but we can see the birds, and he just loves watching that. But what makes him laugh is when his cat sits there like this. He laughed at that cat. She laughs at that. He does, yeah. Okay, and well, I could go on, but I just want to close saying one thing. I loved her very much, and one of the things that I used to do when I tucked her in at night, I wasn't sure how do you treat girls, you know, do you kiss them on the lips, on the cheek, what do you do? So I chose to kiss her on her nose. So when I tucked her and pulled the things up, I would say, nighty night, sweetheart, and I would kiss her on her nose. And so on July 21 this year, we were able to get to the emergency room before the medical examiner took her body. And so we were able to sit there and put our hands on her and cry and be with her as much as we could. And they were ready to come. And so I stood up and I kissed her on her nose. Sort of a kiss that's going to have to last eternity, I guess. Until we meet again. So that's how I knew Shonda.
Please join me in reciting favorite prayers of Shonda and her loved ones. They're on the reverse of your program. And in the Native American tradition, prayers are carried to heaven on the wings of the hawk. This is a hawk feather. So may our prayers be carried to heaven. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.